Hello and welcome back to another video about different yoga postures that I have used and continue to use as I process life after loss. Today we're going to be exploring different poses that I've used when I'm feeling intense discomfort, usually in my lower back and my legs. Um, After our daughter died, I experienced really excruciating discomfort, often in the middle of the night. And after much exploration, came to realize a lot of it was in my psoas. So we'll be doing some exercises to focus on that, as well as hamstrings and hips. That tends to be in lower back, that whole area. We carry a lot there. It's really like the weight of the world on our shoulders, right? And it just presses down. And I know for myself, if I'm clenching, that part of your body tends to take a lot of that impact. So we're going to start very gently in a cross-legged seat. And depending on how your hips and your legs are feeling, this can just simply be a cross-legged seat like this. I always invite you to sit up on a pillow or a blanket because that can help with the tilting of your pelvic region, giving you a little bit more space and comfort in your hips as you sit. If you have very flexible and loose hips, then you can cross one shin over the other for this exercise. And we're going to just start by pausing, taking a couple of breaths here. Let's place one hand under one armpit and one hand under the other armpit. And just take a moment to center in. And I invite you to close your eyes here and just bring your attention to the areas, especially lower body areas, where you might feel some discomfort. Maybe you're feeling some discomfort from sitting, or something from, a recent walk or hike or something that you've done. Just take a little bit of a scan of the lower body, your feet, your shins, your calves, your knees. And it might not be a dramatic sensation, really just noticing how you're feeling, how different aspects of your body are in contact with each other. Taking some nice breaths here. And then take the arm that's on top and switch it so that you've got your arms crossed in the opposite direction. Straighten your legs back out if you've got them crossed in the opposite way. Again, just breathing, doing that scan again of the feet and the shins, the knees, the thighs, the hips. Notice if you have any discomfort in your back here or your shoulders. Just notice what sensations you're feeling as we take a couple more breaths again with your eyes closed if it's comfortable to you. I'm going to go ahead and release that. Windshield wipering your knees is a nice way to open up your hips. So bring your feet out in front of you. You can have your hands either at your side or a little bit behind. And just gently rock out your knees from side to side. And again, the idea here in order to address any pain and discomfort, it's important to identify where it's coming from. Sometimes we think that we have a pain in a certain area, but because everything is attached to each other in our bodies through our fascial system, it's very possible that there's tightness in one area that's causing discomfort in another. So as we're doing these exercises today, just spend some time exploring how things feel when you move a certain way. So, for example, as I go here, if I bring my knee down, I can feel that extension and connection all the way up to my lower back. And then I'm going to come down onto my belly. As I mentioned, one of the areas that I experienced a lot of discomfort were in my thighs and legs. And this hamstring stretch is a great way to address this. So I'm going to start on this side, the right side, bringing my hand to either my foot or my knee, my shin. If you have trouble holding this comfortably, you can grab a belt or a strap and just gently, you don't want to exacerbate any discomfort. The goal here is to lengthen and create space and to breathe into that front right thigh. Maybe you even feel it in your knee. I can feel it wrapping from my thigh up my knee. I can even feel it in the left hip actually as I balance on my pelvic region here. And just taking a few deep breaths, exploring how that feels. You can either let your thigh rest down on the mat and pull it in a little bit more deeply, or you can lift the thigh gently off, only if that feels okay. Find that place that feels really comfortable. And then we'll release that and we'll switch to the opposite side. So now we'll take the left hand around the left ankle. Just breathing in here. And again, noticing each side's going to be a little bit different. Another way to do this is to lower your head down. That's another option as well if this feels a little bit too intense in the lifted position. But whichever, again, feels best for you. I'm going to release that and press back into downward dog. This is another good one for just taking stock and feeling secure. Bringing your tailbone up to the wall behind you. If you need to bend your knees here, that's okay. You just want to feel that opening and releasing. And then we're going to slide our right foot up in between our hands and drop our left knee down and bring ourselves up into a low lunge here. Take a moment to really check your alignment because we're going to be working on our psoas. So we want to make sure that everything is aligned so we don't cause any additional discomfort. So bring your hands to your hips, checking that your hips are square. Pay attention to your front foot and your front big toe. And really just feel that connection of the sole of your foot to the earth beneath you and the back of your left shin. You're going to be using the energy of your thighs and pulling them in toward each other. And you'll see that helps you lift your torso up a little bit. And take a nice breath here, bringing your arms up overhead and then sinking in just maybe a half an inch, no more than a couple of inches. And you will feel what I refer to as like a firing up of the front left thigh. And breathing in here. And again, if that feels too intense, just back it off. You just want to come to that point where you've engaged and you can feel that psoas muscle. Inhaling and exhaling. If you'd like, we can bring our arms behind us, clasping the fingers, so we can get a little bit of a heart opener here. So we're getting our psoas and our heart. These are both really important areas to take care of when you're processing loss. They're both very instrumental in just letting us move through life, and they've sustained quite a bit of trauma. So being kind to them. This should be very gentle. And then go ahead and exhale. You can bring your hands back down to the mat, sliding your right knee back. Maybe take one more downward dog here. Nice deep breath in and exhale out. Walking your feet out. And then we'll slide our left foot forward between our hands, dropping the knee, and then lifting ourselves up here, taking again time to create the right alignment, checking that your hips are square, really focusing on that front left foot now, feeling it fully supported, feeling all your toes, feeling the inner and outer edges of that front foot, the back thigh, pulling the energy of your thighs in toward each other to create a little bit more lift in the torso. This lightens you up a little bit, and then you can slowly and gently sink in just a little to the right side. So now you'll be firing up the thigh and opening up the psoas here. Psoas connects everything. It connects your upper and your lower bodies. So again, it takes a lot of wear and tear, and it holds a lot of tension. So the goal here is not to fix it all in a quick 20-minute yoga practice, but to identify it, to know what it feels like. Because knowing what it feels like is the first step in being able to take care of yourself, to bring yourself more comfort. We can bring our arms up and bring our arms behind. Cross your hands the opposite way. So we'll bring a different finger in the front here, lifting and opening your heart, maybe looking up at the ceiling for a little bit deeper of a heart opener, if that feels okay. Breathing here a couple times. Exhaling, bringing our hands back down. Then we're going to come up to a stand. A little bit of a forward fold here, bending your knees as much as you need to. And just let that feeling of the stress in your lower body, maybe even just massage out the sides of your legs a little bit here. Releasing, feeling, tuning in to what you feel, what feels good, what feels awkward. If anything's painful, then come just to a seat or a child's pose. And slowly walk yourself up your legs here, letting your head be the last thing to come up. We're going to do one quick standing pose. So similar to the hamstring stretch that we did before, we're going to come into dancer pose. And we'll start on the right side. Find yourself something to hold onto or to use just in case you need to steady your balance. And we'll start by bringing our attention into the left foot, and then bring your right toes up. You can clasp your right foot in your right hand. And then it's nice, I think, to have this left arm out for a counterbalance, but If you'd rather have it on a chair or a wall or a piece of furniture, that's okay too. And then pulling the knee back a bit, kicking your foot into your hand. You'll again get a very similar stretch to the one we got when we were laying down. The benefit of this one is that you are practicing balance as well, bringing yourself back into balance. I'll take a couple breaths here. Doesn't matter how far down you go or how deep you pull. It really, again, is about identifying what you're feeling and if you can sense a release. Slowly releasing that foot, placing it down. I like to sway out a little bit here, just gently side to side. Nice, gentle twists. You can even let your hands come and tap onto your body. And taking a couple of breaths, getting a nice full, complete breath here. And then we'll come to the left side. So you'll bring your attention to the right foot, steadying yourself however you need to, taking your left foot in your left hand. Often one side is a little more secure than the other. You can bring again that arm for counterbalance, kicking your left foot into your left hand to feel that opening on this side. Breathing in, feeling the length. So your torso is lengthening forward as your left leg is coming back and opening up on the psoas. And then come slowly back up, bring that knee up, and we'll swing it out a little bit. And then taking your feet greater than hip width distance apart with your toes pointed out, we're going to come into a malasana squat. If this is really uncomfortable for you, then go ahead and place a pillow or a bolster under your tailbone. That works as well. And just take a moment. You're going to be pressing your thighs into your elbows and your elbows out into your thighs. So you're creating some space in your lower back here. This can feel really good, at least for me, if I've got tension and tightness in my lower back. I can almost feel it melting away as I sit here. And then you can go ahead and release that, come down to a seat. And another great one is pigeon pose. I'm going to do this today, reclined pigeon. So bringing your knees up, gently lowering yourself down, one vertebra at a time onto your mat. And then taking your right foot up, putting the right foot on the left knee. This may be plenty. So just see, how does this feel? What does it feel like? Maybe move your hips side to side a little bit. And notice what sensations you're feeling and where. I can feel this in my outer hips a little bit in my lower back. To get a greater hip opener, you can lift that left leg up. You can clasp your hands behind your left knee. You can straighten that leg. All of these things are just options to explore. And then let yourself sink in here for a moment. And bring your attention to your breath. Feeling your spine from the top of your head all the way down your back to your tailbone, really connected into your mat. Notice if you're clenching anything that you can let go of. And then place that left foot down, bring your arms out to a T, and let your right foot come over to the left side. So we've got a little bit of a twist here. And I like to look away from my knee, but if that's uncomfortable for your neck, feel free to just look up ahead or over at the left. We'll do some neck openers and shoulder release exercises in another video coming up soon. And then go ahead and bring yourself back. Go ahead and release that down, and we'll switch to the opposite side. Again, starting with just your left knee, your left ankle on your right knee. Feeling this connection to the earth, noticing how things feel, wiggling it out a little bit just to get a sense of the sensations. You can bring this up again with your right knee up to get a little bit more of a hip opener here. And again, just releasing in. It can feel nice to just close your eyes here. If you have an eye mask, it's really a nice part to add to your practice, especially for the reclined poses. It's a little bit hard to maintain it when you're standing, but our eyes help us take in everything around us. And when we're wanting to focus on ourselves, calming our sight, closing our eyes, covering them in some way, lets us tune in more to identify what's going on inside of us so that we can take care of ourselves. Then you can go ahead and place that right foot down, arms out to the side. This time the left foot will come over to the right side. I know for me, I feel this more. I have a greater sense of sensation in my left hip as I do this than I did when I did it on the other side. So I'll breathe into it. And go ahead and come back up to center. Place the other foot down. And then walk your feet out to the edges of your mat. And let your knees come together. We tend to do a lot of yoga poses to open our hips. We're going to do a counter pose here, just to give our body a chance to come back into balance. And again, notice what you're feeling. This can often feel a little awkward because it's not a move that we typically do. Maybe you just feel the sensations of energy in your muscles as they've moved to a new position. Maybe you can sense gravity as your weight sinks towards the earth. You can bring one hand to your heart and then one hand to your belly. Again, if this feels really good to you, if you're feeling there's a lot of benefit, then feel free to pause the video and restart. We have one more posture we're going to go through for this sequence. So when you're ready, you can bring your feet together, roll yourself over onto your right side and then onto your belly. Come into tabletop just for a moment, bringing your toes together, your knees wide, and we're going to come into a child's pose here. And just letting your hips sink back. You can do this restorative if you want with a pillow. You can have your hands out in front of you, or you can bring them over by your sides. And you're just going to sink in here. I like to feel that melting sensation in my lower back as I'm just letting go of the tension of standing upright, of keeping a good posture, of pulling in my belly and trying to feel strong. You can just release here and let it all melt away. And as you breathe, you can feel that breath moving up and down your spine. Your inhale, maybe even feel your shoulders widen as your lungs expand. And just releasing again as you exhale. Feel free to pause the video and stay here. Child's pose is a great posture for relaxation and stress release. And I know for me, it's my go-to pose when I start to feel accumulated discomfort in my lower body. So feel free to stop the video and complete it at your own time, staying here as long as you'd like. If you're ready to move on, you can bring your knees together. We're going to come onto our back into Shavasana. Just resting, letting each foot come out to the opposite ends of the mat. Your arms out to the side, palms facing up. And then just release and observe. Your body's restoring itself. This time of nothing at the end of yoga poses is as important as the practice itself. It is the practice as well. To let all that you've created in terms of space and tension release just gel. It's kind of, if you're making jello or pudding, you can mix and mix and mix, but it's not until you let it set and let it cool down that it can turn into something that you want to enjoy. When you're ready to return to your day or your evening, go ahead and rub your thumb over your fingertips. Place your right hand on your left shoulder and your left hand on your right shoulder, and just give yourself a hug. Appreciate yourself and let you know that you are worth this time for yourself. It's the best thing you can do, not just for yourself, but for everyone in your life and for everyone you encounter. Because if you know you're worthy, then let's other people also have permission to know that they are also worthy of care and love and compassion. So bringing your feet together, slowly roll over onto your right side. Take a breath here. Using your left hand, press yourself up into a seated position. Taking a nice deep inhale in and an exhale out. Do that again, and this time again, tuning into that sensation of the breath in the body. Thank you for joining me again today. I hope that these practices help you find a little bit of tension release and quell some physical discomfort that you might be feeling. I know they work for me. Thank you.